Howdy folks, Max Mogren here, oilfreefund.com. It is November 12th, 2013 here in beautiful Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Talking about the flooding in the Philippines. My heart goes out to all the people who've died and their families and these people whose lives have just been turned upside down. Independent researcher I follow, Dutchsinse, Michael Janich from St. Louis, put out a video recently that's has close to 1 million views now, went viral. And he's just showcasing evidence from government and academic websites showcasing the fact that this storm looks to have been geoengineered, manipulated in some way. Here's the imagery that appears to show a pulse of wireless energy, microwaves, zapping this area of the atmosphere, and then the rotation of this superstorm forms. There's no denying that the technologies to manipulate the climate and the weather on a grand scale exist. These things have been developed for over a century. The United States government was using the weather as a weapon during the Vietnam War, and weather weaponry had become such a threat by the late 1970s that the United Nations banned it under the ENMOD Treaty. The UN also banned torture, but that doesn't seem to stop a lot of countries from using it, right? So weather weaponry, we're told that geoengineering, that climate manipulation will only be used to mitigate climate change, to mitigate global warming. But what if it's used as a weapon? What if it already is used as a weapon? And just like the Colorado flooding, what's happening? The Filipinos need aid. 10,000 or more people dead. They evacuated 800,000. It just paints a horrible picture of the situation. So the Filipinos plead for aid. The Filipinos need money. They need foreign investment. They need loans in order to get through this situation. And it's kind of funny, the Jackson Hole Daily, this is all from today's paper. Global economy. Here we see that word again, aid. Global economy propped up by exorbitant aid. The word exorbitant, unreasonably high, but generally it's used to refer to the price or amount charged. For example, you want to go to a ball game or a concert and you have to buy tickets from a scalper, they're going to charge you an exorbitant price. In similar fashion, those propping up the global economy with exorbitant aid charge absurd interest on the loans they create out of thin air and loan into existence. Okay, so aid. We had, the Filipinos had a horrible typhoon that may have been caused by weather weaponry. They need aid. The global economy is in trouble. People need more jobs. We need to create more unnecessary, wasteful work for people, so they can perpetuate this flawed system, this flawed economic system, propped up by exorbitant aid. Central banks are pumping cash into economies. The International Monetary Fund expects global growth to rise to 3.6% in 2014 from 2.9% this year. The improvement does not mean that a sustainable recovery is on firm footing. Okay, all they're doing is printing money. What happens as they print money? The Dow reaches another record high. The Dow has advanced for 5 straight weeks and is up 20% so far this year. Other major indexes have also surged. Stocks have been propelled higher this year by economic stimulus from the Federal Reserve, a gradually improving economy, and rising company earnings. Okay, the gradually improving economy and rising company earnings are directly caused by the Federal Reserve printing money out of thin air, loaning it into existence, and charging interest on it. The S&P 500 is up more than 160% since bottoming out in March 2009. The easy money has been made, said Orlando. We can continue to go higher, but the process is going to be a grind over the next couple of years. That means they're going to keep printing money. The market will be looking for any clues about the Fed's policy going forward. Why? Because if the Fed stopped printing money, the economy would crumble. Okay, we live in a debt-based currency system. It needs economic growth. Now back to the Philippines. I want to chime in here and explain why anybody in their right mind, well, maybe not in their right mind, but why anybody would want to use the weather as a weapon. And we're going to turn to The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein. This talks about disaster capitalism and war. Remember, the central bank is, when it gives us aid, when it props up the global economy with exorbitant aid, that aid is exorbitant because they're charging exorbitant interest rates. Pulling money out of their ass, printing money out of thin air, and charging for its existence. Here we see disaster capitalism at its worst. Massive typhoon comes in. This country, the Philippines, needs foreign aid, needs foreign investment, needs loans issued to it that they're going to have to pay back with interest in order to get themselves out of this hole. And it's similar to a situation that took place in 2004, The Shock Doctrine, Chapter 10, Blanking the Beach. The tsunami that cleared the shoreline like a giant bulldozer has presented developers with an undreamed of opportunity, and they have moved quickly to seize it, said Seth Midens at the International Herald Tribune, March 2005. Okay, December 26, 2004, tsunami took the lives of 250,000 people and left 2.5 million people homeless throughout the region. Sri Lanka. Okay, disaster capitalism. Just like war. War is the greatest debt creator. War creates a lot of jobs. When they talk about the economy, creating jobs, making work for people, generating economic growth, and having returns on these investments. War, just like natural disasters, creates debt. They're great debt creators. Debt enriches and empowers the central banking cartel. Disaster capitalism. Weather warfare is an extension of conventional warfare, except it can be waged covertly. Once again, there's no disputing the fact that these technologies exist. Okay? I'll put in an image here of David Keith, Harvard geoengineer, where this is from an interview in Australian TV last November, over a year ago, where he acknowledges that these technologies have existed since the 1960s. The humans have known we had the capability to manipulate the weather on a massive scale, to manipulate the climate even, and we are led to believe that the same corrupt politicians, the same greedy bankers, and the same lying media that deceive us on everything else are only planning on using these technologies to mitigate climate change? No. Changing the climate to prevent climate change makes about as much sense as bombing for peace, and that's what they do. They do it because we live in a backward system based on economic growth and an imaginary, made-up, debt-based currency that's loaned into existence by these criminals who charge us interest. The Philippines, now they're going to have to go along with whoever gives them these loans. It's just like, you buy a house, you buy a car, you have to make the payment or they're going to take your car away. Very similar situation in the realm of international relations. Geoengineering, there's evidence in the sky almost every day. See for yourself, look up. Big thanks to Dutchsinse for his excellent work as always. Also Jim Lee, climateviewer.com. Check out Jim's site for the most comprehensive Earth system observation platform available out there. Thank you to both of those guys for all the work they do, and to everybody else out there making a difference. One love. Peace.
Like selling souls, it's having sales bumps. I be in the wind while your sales slump. Your chances getting slim. Mine on they 12th brunch, and they smell lunch. Hercules clump, throw my weight around. Ain't left the scale once. Always bear in mind, even with your white fur, we still polar opposites. You ice picks to icebergs. I'm colder than Universal Soldier. Angel on my back, everywhere I'm at. Niggas don't believe that just when I lay it down. And when I get back up, you see my angel on the ground. super cold.